Before we do anything, Link goes back to Lookout Landing and gives the news to Pura, who believes the restored Master Sword is somewhere in this era and tells us to follow Mineru's advice and meet with the Deku Tree in the north. I try to enter the Great Hyrule Forest by flying into it, but just like in Breath of the Wild, the Lost Woods fog prevents me to do so. In fact, some Korok tells me that something is wrong with the forest and points out a hole in the ground leading to the depth. I fall down there and follow the path until I make it to the Korok Grove and find myself at the roots of the Deku Tree, meaning I could just ascend to reach my goal. The Korok Forest and the Deku Tree don't look so good, and everyone is silent for some reason. I decide to complete the Swinging Shrine and investigate. There's indeed something wrong as I find a chasm in the Deku Tree as well as lots of gloom around. Once again, I jump down the hole and face another Phantom Ganon. Link takes care of the foe and purifies the place from evil, and we can finally talk to our old friend the Deku Tree. He thanks us for the help, and we witness a memory of the last time we met, along with Zelda. He talks about the renewal of the Master Sword, and we learn the blade can not only heal itself of every damage given enough time, but also continue to gain strength if bathed in sacred power, and become more powerful. The Deku Tree then notices Link doesn't wield the sword, but can sense its presence, therefore marking it on the map for us to go look for it. The Master Sword seems to be in the sky, and also moving, but before we keep going with that story and go look for it, we need to go back a bit to understand what's going on. And we start by collecting every dragon tears from the geoglyphs around Hyrule. These tears show us memories and help us understand what happened to Zelda and the Master Sword, many years before in the past. We follow Zelda to these ancient times where she's been sent back to. We see her meeting Mineru and trying to figure out a way to go home to the present. Mineru mentions a forbidden act called dragonification, and how swallowing a secret stone would turn you into an immortal dragon and lose oneself. She says it could be the first lead to some way to transcend time. We also learn Zelda not only possesses time powers, but also light powers. Another memory shows a not yet Demon King Ganondorf pledging allegiance to King Rauru. Zelda warns him about Ganondorf's dark ambitions, and Rauru decides to keep an eye on him, also sensing evil. Sometime later, Zelda learns to control her time powers with Queen Sonia in order to get closer to her own era, and mentions Link for the first time. The next memory is where things start to go down. Ganondorf traps Sonia with his fake Zelda and manages to ambush and assassinate her, stealing her secret stone in the process. With the secret stone in his possession, Ganondorf gains the dark powers, turning him into the Demon King, and as the blood moon rises, he unleashes hordes of monsters all across the kingdom. To help defend Hyrule against this threat, Rauru invites members of the Rito, Zora, Goron, and Gerudo people to receive Zonai secret stones, granting them the powers of the sages, and fight off the Demon King. Sometime later, Zelda realizes the mummy from under the Hyrule Castle is none other than Ganondorf, who survived all this time, which means they won't be able to defeat him, and Rauru will die trying. He adds that if they're not successful, they will have to rely on Link in the future. Rauru believes there's a reason that Zelda was sent to them, saying that it has to mean something. After the events of the Imprisoning War and the sacrifice of Rauru, we witness Zelda receiving the decayed Master Sword that Link sent her at the Temple of Time. Zelda is now certain that the reason why she was sent to the past was to tend to the Master Sword and empower it with sacred power for when Link faces Ganondorf. Zelda has decided to go through the dragonification ritual and entrusts the Pura Pad to Mineru. She swallows her secret stone and holds on to the Master Sword, and then in a surge of light, she turns into a dragon and flies away in Hyrule's skies, after crying out her memories for Link to find. After witnessing this last memory, Link raises his eyes to the skies and realizes Zelda has been there all along, tending to the sword and awaiting his arrival. It's now time. Link reaches Dragon Zelda and pulls out the Master Sword from her forehead.
Link! The Master Sword. Your sword. She is the key to destroying the Demon King. He defeated her before, but a long slumber will heal these grievous wounds. And when you two next face the Demon King, you will have my strength to help you through her. Link, you are our final hope. I pray this sword reaches you in the future.
Zelda flies away once more, and we're now ready to face the Demon King. It's time to go down the Hyrule Castle chasm and confront Ganondorf. But it's not gonna be so easy. First, Link has to go through long caves and ruins filled with powerful monsters and gloom. We face the Hands and another Phantom Ganon on the way, and reach what seems to be the final battle against evil. But before we can reach the Demon King hiding place, we are joined by the sages and take on an army of monsters. We manage to vanquish all of them and break the entrance to Ganondorf's lair open, and as the previous plagues all show up again, Link goes forward, leaving them to the sages to fight once more. We are now in Gloom's origin, and Ganondorf awakens. He gathers his powers and goes from a mummy into his normal self. Time to face the ultimate challenge, the menace unleashed, Demon King Ganondorf. As Link manages to prove himself and goes through Ganon's first health bar, he gets angry and adopts his Demon King form. He has a ridiculously long health bar and brings out clones to fight on his side. The sages show up one after the other, and they help me focusing my attacks on the original while they take on the clones. Around midlife, he decides he had enough, absorbs the clones and repels the sages away, making this the ultimate 1v1. Link still manages to defeat him, and Ganondorf has to commit the ultimate sacrifice. Like Zelda did before him, he swallows his secret stone and turns into an immortal dragon as well. He grabs Link and the two end up outside, up in the skies of the Hyrule Castle. Link is trapped in between the dragon's teeth, and as everything seems lost, Dragon Zelda rushes towards him, freeing him and catching him on her back. With the help of Zelda, Link manages to reach weak points scattered along the demon dragon and takes them down. One last weak point appears on the foe's head, and Link gives the final attack.
How are you? I was... We reached you, after all. He's gone. The Demon King. I'm not in a dream, right? You did it. Oh, Link, you really did it. But how am I... No, I understand. I had been sleeping all this time. But when I felt something, like a warm, loving embrace, I woke up. Thank you. Link, I met such wonderful people. I saw Hyrule as it was. I have so much to tell you. So much happened.